one thing is very clear. The intent to coordinate, cooperate and co-produce with India is very, very clear. At least from their side and from our side also. So there is no dearth of intent. Like for example, earlier we used to talk, India is moving up the value chain. They realize that, right? So they don't see India as a service provider anymore. They see India as a developer of cutting edge technology. There is a very strong Indian diaspora present in the US. And they are very excited by the India success story or the India growth.
Welcome viewers to Thought Leader Show on MyStartup TV. I'm Majorsunilshetty, your host. This year June, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on his first state visit to the US. And this particular event, 4-day event, created a lot of hype and buzz, not just in the US, in India and globally. Well, he got to meet industry leaders from US and India, and somebody who was there, feeling the vibes, feeling the buzz, is Wing Commander Anish Anthony. Welcome to the show.
Hi Majorsunilshetty, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
So, you were there, on the ground, representing the Ministry of Defence from India, and you're part of various meetings, which included for defence, included startups. Let's start by, just paint that picture as to how was the environment, because this is the first time in many years, or rather first time ever in my memory as well, where India kind of got that global, exposure, feel, and people kind of start acknowledging India as the next big power.
Yeah. So, no, I think firstly, from the outset, we landed a couple of days before. And from the outset, I think even before we landed also, there was a lot of palpable energy that you can see in anticipation of the arrival. The roads were lined up with flags. When you talk to people and they were like, you start have a conversation, you don't mention it that you are come with the delegation. But people have said, hey, you know what, Prime Minister Modi is coming day after tomorrow. So even the common layman knew about Prime Minister Modi's.
So what is that limited to the people of Indian origin, Indian diaspora, or was it also you could feel that among the, let's say the American crowd itself?
No, it was not only American crowd. In fact, we had a cab driver, right, and he was Ethiopian. Right? He knew about Prime Minister.
That talks a lot.
Right? That talks a lot. That means it has percolated down not only from between the political circles or the administrative circles or the business circles, down to the common man and down to even the blue collar or the brown collar. If people do not see value, they could not have come down to so many things. Because it doesn't, unless it affects him, the cab driver would not sort of acknowledge this kind of activity, political activity. So if you ask me, it was almost like a mainstream political event.
So now coming to your visit itself, as you said you were there a few days before the actual visit by the Prime Minister. So what was your mandate? And you were representing the Ministry of Defence India. So what did you do in those few days that you were there?
So I think one of the core areas for this visit was bilateral defence cooperation between both countries. So from that perspective, the Ministry of Defence had put together a team, a delegation, which went as a part of Prime Minister Modi's visit. Similarly, even the US DOD had put together a team. They were a team of around 20 to 25 people from the Indian entity and a parallel organization, a mirror parallel Indian organization on the other side. And the delegation was represented equally by primes, which are the big corporations like L&T Defence, Mahindra Defence, Bharat Forge, and so on. And then the second layer consisted of even the administration, which means they were from the Ministry of Defence, they were officers who were a part of the team, who were part secretaries, and so on and so forth. And the third layer, where the startups and startup ecosystem, that ecosystem is what we have represented, or I represented on behalf of.
So you are wearing multiple hats basically.
Yeah, I think one is my experience of being in the forge as an operator of defense equipment. I was in the Air Force as a pilot, operator of defense equipment. And while being that, I also was a part of DRDO for 4 years, which comes into research R&D of different. Then moreover, I was one of the founding team members of MyGate, so that brings a business element into the whole. And now, as a part of the hub, we are engaging with thousands of startups.
So, given that the overall overview of each and every side of the whole 9 years of the startup ecosystem or the business side of it, especially with the level to defense. What do you think? What do you think? Where are we going with? Because we know, there are multiple technology, agreements we used to visit. We're also buying, one of the best drones possible currently. Where do you see personally, as given you all your exposure, where do you see India, US, different relationship? And also share about what happened during the event.
See, for one thing is very clear. The intent to coordinate, cooperate and co-produce with India is very, very clear. At least from their side and from our side also. So there is no dearth of intent. Like for example, earlier we used to talk, right? I mean, US used to come back and say, okay, let's sign memorandum of understanding and let's take it forward. Now it is like, okay, can we have a follow-up meeting tomorrow? Right? Can we set timelines within the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months and 1 year timeline? Can we set those kind of timelines? So that kind of intent and hustle is there in terms of making stuff happen. So that is one perceptible difference that you could see from last time. And this engagement is across all levels. Right? The corporates want to engage as intently. Their startups want to engage with India's ecosystem. Finally, if you look at India's ecosystem, right, there are 900 million working class people. Right? Now, these 900 million working class people have access to the cheapest data on earth today. Right? Your data bill and my data bill comes to maybe, $6 or $7 a month, which is like, which is peanuts, right? Now you give data access and internet access to all of these people, all of the 900 million people. Look at the permutation and combination of the creativity or the business model that can come out.
You already experienced it.
You already experienced it.
You are experiencing even more sitting in the house.
Yeah, so last year 12,000 startups got registered. That comes to almost 35-36 startups per day. That is what that mixture, that combination is. 900 million working class, almost free access to data, and these are the kind of ideas which are going to come out, and they understand the value.
And the mix of all this, defense being one of the things where a lot of stress is there in terms of, from the government of India, to make it India, Atmanirbhar and all of that. And with interest from the US, as you said, the government as well as the industry, our industry, like the likes of the LNP and the Reliance, they also need a superior technology partner, especially that can support them in the research and development. Where do you see that happening? When do you see that happening?
So I think there are two levels, right? One is, I think, when you mention superior technology that is happening, right? There's a lot of, they are recognizing that there's a lot of superior technology development happening here also. Right? Both we are also recognizing, which is the MOD is also recognizing, saying that, hey, we've got this great talent in India. Let's tap into that and let's pull out all those combination of technologies which can come up. They also recognize that fact that there are a lot of new technologies which are coming up. India has moved out from a service provider, IT tech service provider, up the value chain, which means it is coming into that designer, producer, developer, that kind of development is started happening, and it is happening with increasing amount of frequency and in more cutting edge technology. Look like companies like, for example, Skyroot are putting a rocket into space, and by no means that's an understatement, right? So you look at satellite companies, they are doing some really phenomenal work out of there. So there are definitely good high-end technology companies which are, and India is moving up the value chain. They realize that, right? They don't see India as a service provider anymore. They see India as a developer of cutting-edge technology.
And technology partner.
Technology partner.
Help you build technology.
Help you build technology and produce those products out of India. Right? That is the second piece of it. So now, early on it used to be that their products, their technology comes here and produces product out of India. Right? Now they are looking for us to create products, and then again they have a mandate to produce those products in India. Right? So the engagement levels are getting only higher and higher. as we go by. The third aspect is, I think, there is a very strong Indian diaspora present in the US, and they are very excited by the India success story or the India growth story. You look at it very, very simplistically, right? Let's take it fundamentally simplistically, right? Today in India's per capita income is $2,700, right? Colombia, I think, is somewhere close to around $9,000. Now, if we just get our per capita income there, then we are 10 trillion economy. That is the GDP level I'm talking about. Right? Now look at the velocity of money, because that money is going to be spent again and again inside the country. Right? So there is definitely tremendous potential of monetization at scale in India, which they are very, very cognizant. And the Indian diaspora has gone out 20, 30 years ago. They are now pretty well established. They have earned a reputation for being intelligent, hardworking people, hustlers, enterprising entrepreneurs who are there out there. And they want to do something back for India. They want to give it back to India.
And in what ways are you seeing it? I mean, would they be prepared to take a piece of the pie in terms of being part of the startup ecosystem?
They don't even want a piece of it. Mm-hmm. What they're saying is we're doing for pro bono. I mean, when we introduced ourselves, I think a number of people who took me and just out of goodwill introduced me to more people, right? Saying that, hey, just meet up with these people, see what they can do for us, for you, India back home.
But other important thing is investments to come in. But do you think there is appetite among Indian
Definitely. There's a lot more appetite from the Indian diaspora. So as they keep seeing success stories in India, they do want to come back and invest in these cutting edge technologies that are getting developed. Right? So we're seeing a lot of angel sort of investments which are coming in from there, which are helping startups in India. A lot of expats and NRIs are coming back, spending a month here, meeting up with a lot of startups, looking at a lot of technologies, immersing in this entire experience here, and seeing how they can help either through investment or connections or something like that to help these startups. There's definitely a lot of interest in that element.
So coming to startups, which is where you currently are, based on the world's biggest innovation center. So, in some way, in reference to this trip, what kind of scope do you see for Indian startups, and very particularly for defense? And is there a scope for them or a possibility for them to work alongside or with likes of Tata, Reliance, L&T? Where do you see that?
All of the stakeholders, all of the key parties, all the principals have to work together on this. Right? Because there is a lot of, I mean, if you look at it as one big puzzle, right? Some people have some pieces and other people have other pieces. Yes. Like for example, if a startup creates a product, right? Now the armed forces will definitely look for longevity, which means the startup is just 2 years old, right? Will he be in a position to provide me spares for the next 10 years, for the next 15 years? So that longevity becomes a bit of a thought point for them to do. It's a bit of a point. But that doesn't come when you have major stakeholders, primes like L&T Defense or Bharat Forum doing that, right? Because they have a proven history of working with the armed forces for decades now.
Yes.
Right. So they bring that longevity, reliability, ability to take a shock, ability to put in money to scale up. Right? They have ability to working at scale. Right? So what they possess, what the startups possess, agility. Right? The ability to get new technologies together to come out with something really.
And tinker with ideas and
tinker with ideas, tinker with combinations, think out of the box, not being afraid, flexibility, right? Pivot.
Which big companies may not be able to do.
Yes, which big companies may not be doing at that pace.
At that pace.
Right? So that is what startups bring, right? And that is what the bigger companies bring, right? And so everybody has a piece to play in this whole piece. As far as the US visit is concerned, I think a lot of our startups want access to US markets, to US US agencies who want these kind of solutions, who stand up for products. It could be aid agencies a part of defense, or it could be agencies a part of dual use. We worked a lot this time around on trying to identify ecosystems there, like similar to T-Hub, right, who can provide our startups a soft landing. Right? So you go there, they not only take care of your basics, which is a place to
Like so the red
anchor.
area you have done. I know.
Yes, like a place to anchor and then work out of there, right? And again, regulatory support, right? Yeah, incubation support, market access support, for example. Right? All of those people, how can we have somebody out there who's looking out for our guys there, which is a more immersive experience for them. What we also want to do is give India market access to their startups and to their employees. We've also had some really deep engagements with the Department of Defense on how we can relook the regulatory approval mechanism for startups who are coming on it. How can we make it really easy for startups to navigate those regulatory procedures that are there in the market? How can you navigate those procedures? How can you make it more efficient, reduce the time gap, give more visibility on what is to be done? You should not be groping and finding out for yourself. How can we have somebody who just guide you through?
That saves time, money, and
time, money, effort, and all of that. Right? So we are looking at those opportunities as well with the department.
So finally, as T-Hub, given the experience, what you've seen, what you're experiencing, any changes, any thoughts in terms of cutting edge technology, defense, creating vertical intelligence T-Hub to ensure that this thing catches pace and startups and businesses.
Absolutely. So within T-Hub, we have identified defense as one of our core sectors that we want to focus on. We've created a separate department. We have hired people who have expertise in doing that. Typically, these are people who have done R&D for defense while being in the armed forces. Right? So we have ex-servicemen, defense research-oriented ex-servicemen is what we have hired and made out with this. Today, we are running one of the largest defense startup support programs in India today for the Ministry of Defense as a part of their IDEX program. We have got one of the largest cohorts of startups who are doing development, innovation for the Ministry of Defense. Almost around 25 to 30 startups is what we are supporting right now, end to end, which is right from disbursement of fund, hand holding, getting them market access, and helping them navigate the defense procedures, R&D, development, trial, testing, POC, through and through holding their hand, right from ideas. So that is something we're doing for our defense startup. It's close to our heart as well. Yes. And it's also core to our skill sets as well. Having been there for 20-25 years, we definitely know certain things that we should not be doing to maintain on the track to be able to. So using those kind of expertise to run a defense sort of a department within T-Hub. T-Hub has got around 2,500 startups, right? But we really believe that this is one area where we can really focus and make an impact to nation building.
Anish, thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.